Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here. Today we're going to be working on this pomegranate that Zin gave me a few years ago. We're going to get it pruned up today. Joey, we're going to get it all pruned up today and looking good. And I've never picked a front for this tree, so I'll do that today also. Here's a look at the tree. So it has quite a thick base for the size of the tree, and I'm going to keep it small at first, and maybe it'll grow larger over the years. You can see there's a lot of pruning scars on it, and the pomegranate, instead of healing over the scars, it tends to grow kind of around the scars. But that's just the way they grow. So today I'm going to get the front picked out and then prune it up. You can see up top on it, it's got a bit of fruit on it. There's another one over there. Yeah, these pomegranates tend to fruit and flower every year. Here's a look at the tree, and I don't think I've ever picked a front for it because it's a very difficult tree to pick a front for. There's a lot of, pruning scars, which, may become good features in the future. This is the primary trunk line, so I think I would want it, the front maybe somewhere here. Maybe. I'm not really sure. I'll mark that as a possible front. So here I go. I'll just put a loop of wire in the front of the pot there. And then I'll begin the pruning. Usually on my trees, I have a plan of what I envision the tree to look like in the future. And this tree, I don't really have that vision yet. I think it's just too early in its development. I do want to keep the branches compact with small internodes before it changes direction. So I'm using clip and grow to develop the branch structure. Yeah, and I'll definitely grow, this is the major trunk line. And I'll try and keep these as branches, even though, this one is really thick. It's almost the size of the trunk itself. So it may become, quite a large branch in the future. Yeah, there's a lot of scarring on this tree. But, over many, many years, I'm sure that will heal. Just taking some old bark off here. Actually, that might be rubber cement. Let me just pick that off. See what's happened underneath. Yeah, so the living tissue is just kind of growing around the wound. It's not really healing over on top of the wound. Not at this stage anyway. It may in the future. I'm going to start, there's a stub here I can prune out between these two branches. And then this branch is quite vertical and it almost grows back in towards the center of the tree. I think at least I can take off this one on the inside here, so I'll do that. Like that. I've got buds down here, so I can prune this off here. This branch, I have a stub in the center between these two branches. Take that out, another stub here. And then on this branch, I've got my first pair of buds is here, so I'll prune just above those. Hi, Joan. On the branch behind, I have buds here, so I can prune just above that. Yeah. So I'm kind of just shortening all this new growth. And then I will look at what's left. Hi, Joan. Yes. You're right in the way of pruning. Did you know that? You are. But it's good to see you. Yeah, so I'll shorten it all back to the first pair of buds. And I'm not pruning to the second pair of buds like I do in the maple because these pomegranates get very small leaves anyway. You don't have to, expel that vigor in spring on sacrifice branches, you can just prune straight to the first set of buds. So that's what I'm going to do. At least on this branch, because I know that's a branch. The trunk line I may want to let grow and thicken up. This other branch here, there's a new shoot coming out the back. I've got a stub here. I've got a branch here, and I've got a pair of buds here. But it divides up higher. But I think I'm better off developing these buds down here, because there's a bud on the outside that'll continue the branch line out. So that has got the small branches pruned up. Oh, there's a stub here I missed. There. So I may come back and remove some branches if I'm not happy with it in the end. So then I'm going up the trunk line, and I don't want these long straight sections. I want the tree to be quite twisty. So here I've got my first branching starts up here, and I've got this long straight section. So that's too long, but I have buds back here, so I'll take it off right here. On the branch behind, there's a stub in the middle I can take out. On the branch behind, I have buds right down low here, and then my branching starts up here, and I think that's okay, this upper branching, so I'll take it off there. I'll tip prune this branch. The other one's fine. So that's got the tree pruned up. It was quite a quick operation. So next I've got to look at the design of the tree and just see where I'm taking it. So here's a look at the tree now. It's definitely more compact. It looks better. So where was my front? It was around about here. I still think that's a fairly good front. Yeah. Sure is a lot of deadwood on it. But we'll see what happens in the future if it heals over. So now I'm looking at the branch, and I've got kind of a nice flowing branch out to the side, and then I have this upright one and an upright one behind. I don't want 3 branches growing from the one spot here. So I'm definitely going to keep the middle one, and I have to decide between these two which ones I want to keep, or which one I want to keep. That, if I have the front here, that could be a good back branch, if that's kind of the front. I think because this one is so vertical, I mean the other one, it's quite vertical too, but at least it fans out a bit. I'm leaning towards that front one. Yeah, I think I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to remove that front one. So here I go. I mean, right here, don't touch the tree. Like that. There's another pruning scar. And then on the back one, this one kind of grows absolutely vertical, and it's almost coming in towards the center of the tree. I'm going to cut that one back. So here I go. I'm going to not cut it back, I'm going to remove it. Like that. And then, let me see. Hi, Joni. On this back branch, I have 2 vertical branches. I'm trying to decide what to do there. Difficult decision. I kind of like both. And I could keep both. I think what I'll do is I'll just remove this one coming up here, like that. Grow this as sort of the branch leader, and this is a side branch. I think that's a good solution. I'm wondering on this one, it's kind of tall and vertical, and I do have some dormant buds down here, so I'm going to take this one off even shorter to there. And I think that's got that back branch looking much better. Now, so I'm going to change my front slightly. I'm going to change it to here. Here. Maybe at least to here. So there's kind of the front. You're seeing the front now. Hi, Joni. Joan's very sucky. Now I removed a branch here, and you can see the living tissue's kind of growing around it. There's some old bark that's died back there. Yeah, they don't like being pruned, these pomegranates. See, the living vein is underneath where I pruned it here. So it definitely kind of dies back around pruning points. So I don't know, maybe, you know, the solution is to leave stubs on it and let it die back. I don't know. Anyway, that's the way it is now. This one healed not too bad. And this one did very well. I'm not so sure in the apex here having these two. I have it dividing here. And the one, if this is kind of the front somewhere here, this one's coming out front, which is nice, and this one's vertical. I mean, it's nice to have divisions. I don't want it, you know, a big skinny trunk going up. I want some branching. I think I'll leave it for now. I'll leave that as a future possibility of some more pruning. Now I have a stub up here that I can clean up. It's on top, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to take that back like that. That helps a bit. I'm going to clean up some of this dead wood around here. Maybe some of this dead wood, or just take it back a bit. Give the tree more of a chance to heal over that section. It may take many, many years, but hopefully it'll get there someday. I think this wound has died back into this wound. There's no bark there. And the wood is very soft. Okay, well, I think that's about all I can do. Yeah, look how that's healed. Wow. You can almost see the dead wood is separate from the living vein. Interesting. Okay, the next thing I want to do, I think I'm done the pruning, is I want to clean up the base of the tree. Oh, I hear the zombie apocalypse. So I'm going to just pull this moss away from the root base so it's not climbing up the trunk, kind of exposing the surface roots a bit more. So I treat these pomegranates as temperate trees. So they're in the greenhouse here, and they have frozen over just lightly. I wouldn't want to take them too much below freezing for very long, but they can definitely take a light freeze. And I may put it in the basement for the rest of the winter just to ensure it stays above freezing. That's where I typically keep them. And it won't take up much space. It's a small pot, so I should have room for it. But I know some people treat them as tropicals and grow them year-round, but I think to get them to flower properly and to keep them really healthy, I think they need that rest period in winter, a period of dormancy. Yeah, we don't get that nice weather that you get in Victoria, Australia. Quite a bit of moss is growing in on this tree. So I have never repotted this tree since Zen gave it to me. And I think this spring will be its time. I'm trying to see if that's a root there. I think it is. Holy cow. There is a giant root here. Yeah. Well, that's got to be taken care of. Yeah, so I'll definitely repot it this spring. Just as, you know, the leaves are going to emerge, I'll repot it. Do some root pruning for sure. Yeah, so there's a big root off to the side there. Not exactly a textbook radial root base on this one. Okay, so that's cleaned up, and like I said, I think I'll put it in the basement for the rest of the winter, just to make sure it doesn't get any hard freezes out here in the greenhouse. It all depends on what temperature it is outside. If we get super cold temperatures, I can't keep the greenhouse above freezing. It's too hard. I'd have to run like some super gas heater or something like that. Okay, I think that's it. I think it's cleaned up, pruned up, ready for spring repotting. So let's take a final look at the tree. Okay, I'll rotate the tree around so we see it from all angles. And there's maybe a possible front there. Joan has settled down in her bed here, cleaning herself. So here's what I took off the tree today. So a lot of whippy branches, cleaned out some moss. So here is a look at the tree from above. And I have another pomegranate. So this is one I had before Zin gave me the other one. And it was just a small one that I've been working on. So let's prune this one up today too. Here is a look at pomegranate number 2. So there's 2 trees growing beside each other. And it's in a pot that Ray made from the Toronto Bonsai Society, one of his nicest pots. Yeah, it's a beautiful pot. Yeah, so I'm just looking at the trees. There's a lot of leaves here. You can see the fruit. I think that was from this year or last year. Pick out a weed there. And you can see the weather's warmed up a bit and it's starting to grow a bit. And they do that throughout the winter. They kind of, in the warm weather, they start to put out a few leaves. When it cools down again, it goes dormant. Alright, I think I'll start pruning this one up too. Alright, here I go with the pruning. So here on this tree I've got a vertical branch growing right at the base of another branch, so I'll take that off. I've got another vertical one coming off here I can take off, cleaning that branch up. I can shorten this one back to some buds back here. I'm going to keep this one. It's a nice upright branch. I'll just prune it shorter. And I'll shorten this one. Some buds. I'll shorten this one. And I'm going to take, I've got the end divides from 1 to 3. I think I'll prune off my lowest one. And I think I'll take off this lowest one here too, actually. Keeping my branch more upright. Here, this branch is very horizontal, and so is this one. I do have kind of an upright one at the base of that branch. Well, I'll prune this one back here. I've got an upwards facing bud, and I'll prune this one back to here to an upwards facing bud. This one to here. Dead tip there. Prune this one back, this one back. I may take that off. Then I've got sort of a twisty leader here and then a new branch growing out here. I'm at least going to reduce this one back, probably to this first node here. Keeping a few possibilities open because these trees are very young. I'm going to take this tip off here too. Yeah, these trees are very young, so you know, there's just keep a lot of fine branching on them and then just slowly take away the worst branches and should end up with a fairly nice branch structure. At the tip here I've got a stub from previous pruning. I'm going to remove that. Another stub here. This branch, boy oh boy, they sure grow straight, these pomegranates. Take that one off. I'm going to reduce it back to at least here. But I think I'll go back even further because I have a more vertical branch here. Take that tip off. Some of these branches, there's so many buds really close together that you can pretty well prune them anywhere and they'll grow a new multitude of branches coming out, just like this one. There's just branches growing everywhere, which is nice if you want to grow a small tree. You get lots of fine branching. But to avoid all those straight sections, you've got to do a lot of pruning, clip and grow. So this one I'm going to take back to here. This one to here. And I think I'm going to take the end off this branch, so I'll prune it here. I'll leave a stub for dieback. We'll see if that helps. Prune this branch back. It's kind of got that branch sorted out. I'll prune this one back further. Take this bottom one off. Okay, and now I'm getting up into the apex of this larger trunk. This branch fans outwards, so I'll prune that above there. This one, I've got some division here, so I'll keep that. I'll just prune everything back. Like that. And then I've got some opposite branches here. This one's kind of the inside of a curve. I'll take it right out. And then this branch, I'll prune off at least to there. Maybe that's where I'll leave it. I do have some buds back here. Maybe that's a little too long and straight. I'll take it back to those buds. Yeah, I think that's going to be about it on this main tree. There's a few, I don't know if that branch is alive. I think it is. Yeah, I think that's got this tree pruned up. And this one is almost pruned up. I think I've got to get rid of that upright branch. It's just too vertical. This one, there is buds back here. I could shorten it. I think I will. And then on the apex here, I've got kind of a branch on the inside of the curve there I can take out. And then I got to decide what to do here. I've got a lot of branches in this apex. And this bottom one is very straight and the top one is quite curvy. So I'm going to get rid of the bottom one. Like that. There's a stub I can clean up here. I think that's good. Stub I can clean up here. There's a bud back here. I'll take this one back a bit further. And I think that's it. I think that's got the pruning done. So I'll also clean up the moss around the base of this tree and kind of clean it up a bit. So this one I have repotted, root pruned. So I know the roots are underway. That's radial root base. So I'll get my tweezers and just pull away this moss. It's very thick. And it's a very coarse moss. It's not the fine velvety moss like sidewalk moss. This is more of a woodland moss. They look more like miniature ferns, which can look good in forests. It's nice to have a variety of moss to pick from. So I got a few aerial roots going off the trunk there, which I'm not sure I'll be keeping those. I don't think I will. I'm just trying to see if this is 2 trees or is it 1 tree. Wow, I didn't realize the moss was this thick. It was very, very thick. So it looks like it is just 1 tree with a kind of twin trunk on it, which is interesting. I didn't know that. Well, I guess I knew it at one point in time, but I've forgotten. Okay, I've got the root base cleaned up, and you can see there's a lot of aerial roots here. I don't think I want them. I don't want it looking like a tropical tree, so I'm going to prune those away. And hopefully it won't cause dieback on the trunk or anything. I guess we'll find out. Well, there's one gone. Here's another aerial root that's really high up. And then the final one is off here. Leave a bit of a stub there. Like that. Oh, another little one there. Okay, so it's back to a twin trunk. Oh, there's another one here. Actually, there's 2 more on this branch. Wow. And you can actually see the inverse taper that's starting. It's a bit skinnery here, and this root feeds this part of the trunk, and it's thicker than this area. So I'm going to take that off. I'll leave a stub again. There. And I don't know where the front will be for this tree either. It's not marked. I think we should have a look at it. Try and pick out a provisional front. Okay, so the trunk is curved at the base. I hope you can see that. And I think, you definitely want to show that curve off. You don't want it going away from you and then up. And you don't want it curving towards you either. So I think somewhere about here is the front. Having this trunk in the background, this one in the front, it comes towards you. It's quite nice. So I'll mark that as the front of the tree. I think right about here. Right about there is a good front. Shows both trunk lines. The ones in the background, the smaller one. Yeah. But from the trunk, from the front, it looks a little awkward here. This branch crosses that other one. I'll leave it for now. If this branch develops, I can prune that stub back and it might look okay. I'll leave it for now. So that is pomegranate number 2 pruned up. Joan just loves when I make videos out here keeping her company. She just falls asleep every time. So here's what I took off the tree today. I guess you can only see mostly moss, but a lot of branches, small whippy branches. And here is a look at the tree, kind of from above. Some different angles. Yeah, so it's coming along. There's no major dieback on this tree or anything, so it's probably going to be, well, it's hard to say. Both trees will be quite different. One will have a lot of scarring and dead wood. This one will be a little more flowing and graceful, maybe. That'll be interesting to see how they develop in the future. Here is a look at the two pomegranates side by side. So they're both, quite differently styled trees, but they both look really nice. I think, they'll both become beautiful trees in the future. I mentioned Victoria earlier in the video, and that's because there is someone in Victoria who has a very special day today. It's his birthday. So that is Zak Bou from Zak Bou Art, a YouTube channel. And Zak has all kinds of trees in development. He's got a fantastic setup, and he uses really good techniques on his trees. And he's growing his trees from young, growing them carefully and with a lot of craftsmanship to become really beautiful bonsai in the future. So I'll put a link to Zak's channel in the description below, and I think it would be a really nice birthday present for him if you consider subscribing to his channel, because I think that would make his day. So that is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.